Okay, so when we are adding complex numbers, we have to pay attention to what goes on with the brackets. A lot of the students have asked me, what is PEMDAS? Doesn't this count? And when I say what is PEMDAS, of course they know it means parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, and addition and subtraction. But the point is, a lot of them are saying to me, what is PEMDAS, and why do we have to pay attention? Well, parentheses would count, but guess what? There's an addition sign. And I wish I could change this to PEMDAS, meaning like, or something like SI, PEMDAS, like signs first. Because signs tell you what to do. When you have a sign in front of, you have to add the like terms. And when you're adding, you don't do all the things you do in multiplication. Once again, this is just a straight rule you have to accept. So you have -2 plus 5 is 3. Those are your like terms, so you add them, and then you have 3 minus 2, which is 1i. And sometimes your teachers want you to write it as this because that's implied. Okay, you have -6 plus 6 is 0, and 7i minus 7i is 0. So your answer here is plain and simply 0. Okay? And when you go back up here, either one of these is right, because 1 times any number is the number anyway. So either one of these is right. You have 8 plus 6 is 14. You have 5 minus 7i is 2i. There's your answer. Simple. But that's addition. Now, there's a question out that says, why are we going to multiply a plus bi by the conjugate of a minus bi to take an imaginary number I out of the expression? And the simple reason is that this is the conjugate. Because this is -2 plus I, the conjugate is -2 minus I. So you have to take it to both terms so you can get rid of it from the bottom denominator. Okay? You need to get rid of it from the bottom denominator. That's why you're using it so it's equal. So when you average this out, you can then kind of FOIL. A lot of people would cancel this, but I would say not to do this. I would say you go ahead like we did before, and you'd say -6i. And I'm going to write this a little bit up so that we can go on over this problem once we get it. We get -6i and then this is going to be it's going to be a -3i squared. And then these are going to come out to +4 minus I squared, which is going to give you 4 minus 1, which is going to give you 4 plus 1 on the bottom, which equals 5. And on the top, you're going to have -6, and they want you to write it in ABA form. You're going to have -6i over 5, but this is going to be -3 times a -1, which is going to give you what? A -6i over 5 plus 3 over 5, which they said, your textbook said to write it in ABI form, which is going to give you 3/5 minus 6i over 5. Okay. And that was the answer. And even this isn't really the conjugate. Just remember the principle that you wanted to take the I squared, make it an I, and turn it in. You have to put all of these things together so that they add up. So that's the answer to that question. Then we move on to write these in the product form, but here's the problem. They confuse you here because they say a plus bi, but guess what? You're foiling, and when you foil, you multiply. So you've got to do both. But why are you doing both here? Because you have brackets and there's nothing in the middle. And you broke it. You broke it. Okay, so real quick, 4 times negative 5 is negative 20. Let's go foiling together. 3i times negative 5 is 15i. Because it has to be positive. Negative times a negative is a positive. Let's go color coding now. Let's go 4 to positive 4, negative 16i. And then let's go 4 times, then let's go, we missed a number. 3, we missed this. 3i times 4i is 12i squared. You have an i1 here and an i1 here, and then that's 12i squared. So you're okay here. You have to keep like terms. Like terms are now. These are important words. Like terms. Say that to yourself. Like terms. And when you get ready to do like terms, you have negative 20. You add these two together because they're like terms. That's 31i. This is by itself minus 12i squared. Negative 20 plus 31i. You put the negative 1 here because remember, I squared equals negative 1. Negative 12 is positive 12. Now you take this guy over here. He's the biggest number. Negative 20 plus 12. Negative 20 plus 12 is what? Negative 8. Because you take on the form of the number. I'm sorry, negative 12 is what this was. And that becomes 8. Okay. So we have negative 8 plus 31i, and we are good to go and move on to the next equation. I just want to write this here. Okay, we're foiling again. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. We have that here. 2 times positive 12 is 12i. Negative I times negative 3 is 3i. Why? I is negative, this becomes a positive. And over here, we're going to take negative I plus 6i, we make him negative, 6i squared. So we have negative 6 by himself and by him lonesome plus 15i. You have negative 6, this is 6. These two cancel out. Your book wants this in a plus bi form. And when your textbook wants something in a plus bi form, you're really supposed to leave it like this. So you'd kind of leave this as 6 plus 15i plus 6i squared. You wouldn't go through that. Okay, that's really the way they want it. That's why I highlighted it. Okay, so we are now going to do what? I put this on this side because people may be used to looking over here. They're really the same thing. 5 times 5, 25. 5 times 3i is positive 15. 3i times 5 is negative 15. And then negative 3i times this is 9i. Your textbook sometimes will have the answer, and they will leave it at this, where the answer is 25 minus 9i squared. But if you want to take this out, remember I squared equals negative 1. 9 times negative 1, this is negative, this is positive, so your answer is 34. Or you can leave it in this answer either way. Okay? Okay, what are we doing now? Are we adding again? We're subtracting, but see, here they go again, confusing you again, saying say a plus bi. Well, you have to add the terms. For negative 5 plus 4 is going to give you a negative 1. Negative 3 plus 4, you are adding. You have something in the middle. It's going to be 1i. Or you could write it -1 plus I. That's A plus B I form when you write it like this, -1 plus I. Over here, guys, you ready? You're faster now? 2 minus 3, -1. -I minus 6, same as saying 6I minus 1I is going to give you a positive 5I. Hey guys, did we do everything right? We did. We're almost done for the long haul. 5 and 5 is 10. -3 plus 3 is same as saying 3I minus subtracting myself down to a 0. 10 plus 0 is 10. You don't have a complex number, so your answer was how I had it in the first place. It's 10. Thanks for watching, guys.